The book of Genesis chapter 40.
It happened some time later that the king of Egypt's cupbearer and his baker offended their master, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the commander of the guard, in the jail where Joseph was a prisoner. The commander of the guard assigned Joseph to them to attend to their wants, and they remained in custody for some time. Now both of them had dreams on the same night, each with its own meaning for the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were prisoners in the jail. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they looked gloomy, and he asked the two officials who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why these sad looks today?" They replied, "We have each had a dream, but there is no one to interpret it. Are not interpretations God's business?" Joseph asked them, "Tell me about them." So the chief cupbearer described his dream to Joseph, telling him, "In my dream, there was a vine in front of me. On the vine were 3 branches. No sooner had it budded than it blossomed, and its clusters became ripe grapes. I had Pharaoh's cup in my hand. I picked the grapes and squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup and put the cup into Pharaoh's hand. This is what it means," Joseph told him. "The 3 branches are 3 days. In another 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head by restoring you to your position. Then you will hand Pharaoh his cup, as you did before when you were his cupbearer. But be sure to remember me when things go well with you, and keep faith with me by kindly reminding Pharaoh about me to get me out of this house. I was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews in the first place, and even here I have done nothing to warrant being put in the dungeon." The chief baker, seeing that the interpretation had been favorable, said to Joseph, "I too had a dream. There were 3 wicker trays on my head. In the top tray there were all kinds of pastries for Pharaoh, such as a baker might make. And the birds were eating them off the tray on my head." Joseph replied as follows, "This is what it means. The 3 trays are 3 days. In another 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head by hanging you on a gallows, and the birds will eat the flesh off your bones." And so it happened. The 3rd day was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a banquet for all his officials. Of his officials, he lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. The chief cupbearer by restoring him to his cupbearing, so that he again handed Pharaoh his cup, and by hanging the chief baker as Joseph had explained to them. But the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph. He had forgotten him.
Omnipotent Father, you are a God who provides all gifts and talents and wills that it should be used for the edification of your people and for the glorification of your name. You gave your servant Joseph the gift of dreams, and while it seemed he was suffering for what he did not commit, these gifts which you gave him saved him from prison. We beg you to confirm in us your gifts and spirit, and help us to use them to the glory of your name. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.